Welcome to the Look Who It Is podcast, where we sit down with artists to talk music, life, and all the stories in between. Now here's your host, Dane Engel.
Who you are, where you're from, and what kind of music you make.
Sure. I'm Charlie McCabe. I'm a singer-songwriter out of Houston, Texas. That's where I'm based right now. I'm originally from Chicago. That's where I was born. And then I spent some time living in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And then I like to say that I kind of grew up, I guess, a little bit in Milwaukee and a little bit in Austin, Texas. I moved to Austin the summer before my 8th grade year. Went to the back half of middle school there and high school there, and then I went to Texas A&M for college. So that's kind of where I got into music, and I guess I like to say that I play Texas country, and that's kind of where my writing leans, if you will, and so that's what we've been running with for the past couple of years.
So you moved out of Chicago and moved to Texas. That's quite the change.
Yes, sir. I've been all over the place. I've never really had a hometown, and I've always had a place to go back to. That's really wherever my family's been. Yeah, I've been the new kid a lot of times. I'm used to walking into a room full of strangers and having to make your way.
You think that makes it easier now, being a musician and being around a lot of people?
I feel like you're in a lot of environments like that, especially at shows. Whenever you get off stage and people want to talk to you that you've never met before, and that might make it easier to start a conversation or carry on a conversation. When I first got down to Houston, I was doing a lot of open mic nights to try to get my name out there and meet some bar managers that might book me, and also make some contacts in the music industry. And so that can be a little bit intimidating too, walking into a bar that you've never been into before with, just you and your guitar, and um, sitting at a table with a bunch of people you've never met before, and trying to strike up some small talk. So I think it's definitely helped me in the long run, I would say.
So you said in college you got into music.
So I hadn't done anything that required musical ability before my sophomore year of college. I had kind of known that I could sing my whole life, but never really got like an opportunity to, because I never could play an instrument. And so, unless you're in theater or something like that, you're not really singing outside of the shower in the car. And so my sophomore year is when COVID hit, and they sent us all home from school to do online classes at home. So I went back home to Austin for the summer, and then quarantine happened. So we were at home for a little bit longer. I guess we were at home from like the end of spring break, which would have been in March, to the following semester. So from like March to the end of August, we were home, and I was doing online classes. I was working a landscaping job, and wasn't really doing much. So I was bored, and um, my entire life, my dad had this left-handed guitar that had been sitting in some room of our house for my whole life, as long as I can remember, and just sitting there collecting dust. And that summer I was bored enough to pick it up and watch some YouTube videos and try to learn a couple chords, and it kind of has gone from there. So I learned G, C, D, and E minor, and that kind of unlocks thousands of songs at that point. And that's kind of when I started writing a little bit. And I've always kind of been into writing, whether it's poems or just like writing stuff in a journal. That's something that's always kind of been an outlet for me. But I had never really written songs before, so um, that's kind of where it started, man. Just picked up a guitar out of boredom, and watched a bunch of hours of YouTube videos to try to figure out how to play, and eventually well enough to get on stage and play those 3-hour cover gigs. So
What was your first real performance?
I played at a bar in, I guess it's still in College Station. It might be in Bryan, but I think it's College Station. It's a bar called Yesterday's Bar and Grill. I don't know if you're familiar with the College Station Bryan scene, um, but it's a bar right off of Texas Avenue. And I had gotten back to College Station. I had learned a handful of songs and felt like pretty confident enough to string a 3 hour gig together because I figured that would be the first slot that I could pick up, and was legitimately reaching out to every single establishment, in the College Station Bryan area, and was like, look, kind of talking myself up. I had never played a gig before. Was like, hey, I'd love to play some music at your restaurant or at your bar. And after I don't know how many DMs or emails I sent out, but this place yesterday was like, yeah, man, we'll pay you $300 to come out and play for 3 hours. And, I asked him if I could bring a lead guitar player because a buddy of mine, me and him had been playing a little bit together previously. So he came out and played lead for me, and we played like, I don't know, 50 songs. And I was reaching, man. I was playing, songs that weren't even country songs. I threw some Weezer in there and some originals that probably weren't even finished. So just trying to make it through that gig. But that was the first one, and it was cool because no one really knew that I played before, and I hadn't played before. And so we got like probably 60 people to come out to that gig. And so this guy was like, man, he's already got a following and everything. And he's like, you can come back whenever you want. And I was like, I promise it's not going to be the same next time. So, but that was the first gig.
Did that one gig unlock a lot of doors for you?
Um, I wouldn't say that gig unlocked doors. I think it probably unlocked like some confidence in me. And I guess I probably proved to myself that, okay, I can do this. And um, you know, this isn't so bad to get up and play songs in front of people. And I feel like it was more proving it to myself and then just kind of trying to get better at guitar and trying to write better songs and then booking more gigs along the way. And that's kind of what opened more doors for me. I just feel like the more gigs that I played and the more people that I met, you know, it kind of has gone up from there. So
So going into like your writing and stuff, you've written, like you said, all your life as far as like poems and journals and stuff.
yeah.
So do you like work with anybody else with writing?
So probably within the past year and a half or so, is when I've done most of my co-writes. I don't have any songs released right now that are co-written. All of the songs that I have released are solo writes, but um, over the past year or so, I've really found the value of co-writing. I feel like I was always kind of I don't know if I was scared to do it or like for some reason shied away from it, but it's it just sort of adds so much productivity to your songwriting. And if you collect like all songwriters do a notebook or like a section of notes on your phone with you know however many song titles and one liners and verses and unfinished choruses, it's awesome to just go and do a co-write and say, hey, I've been sitting on this idea for however long amount of time, and to be able to flush something out of that, or at least expand upon it a little bit depending on the co-write, has just been a really cool experience. And it's something that I never really realized the value of until, like I said, the past year. And um I've made a lot of cool friends through doing that. And you know maybe some songs I'll record here down the road. So yeah, it's co-writing is so valuable. I need to do more of it and be more diligent about reaching out and putting co-writes on my calendar. But for the most part, man, I'm writing a lot solo right now. So
So everything you have out now is 100% you, huh?
yes, sir.
So out of all those songs, I guess just pick one and break it down for me.
Okay. Let's see. Man, I think that my favorite song that I've written so far is one called Hard to Quit. And it's not the one that's most streamed. It's not the one that people come up to me and say that it's their favorite, but I love telling a story in songs, and you'll notice that whenever you hear my songs and stuff. A lot of them are story songs, and um I just feel like that one was just a hard driving cool story, and none of it's true. And and that's okay. All the stories don't have to be true, but um, it's basically about uh, a guy who's been out on the town having a good time and gets pulled over by the police, and he's asking him what he's been doing and if he's been drinking or if he's on drugs or something. And the guy's like, man, no drug could get me this high. And then the chorus goes into talking about how he's pretty much love drunk on this female that he's been chasing around. And so that's pretty much what the song's about. It's a guy chasing a girl across Texas and the police chasing him. So um, if you haven't heard it, it's a fun one, and we close out all of our full band shows with it, and it's definitely one of my favorites that I've written. So I'm trying to get it in more people's ears because I think it's got more potential than the numbers have told me so far. But yeah, that was a fun one to write.
Yeah, I sat down and listened to a lot of your music here, before stuff, and I've been walking around the house in the mornings singing Amigo.
Nice.
It's been stuck in my head for days, and I've just been walking around the house, wherever goes,
Yeah.
I go, we go.
Yeah. I mean, that was another fun one to write, obviously, and that's been a fan favorite for sure. I feel like everyone who's heard my songs has remembered Amigo, and um, I've actually gotten people who I've never met before to sing it at gigs, which is unreal. Like, I can't believe that. But yeah, that one has definitely opened some doors for me. So
I really like Not a Cowboy too. That's a pretty catchy song.
well, thank you. That one's actually got a story behind it. So Not a Cowboy, I had the idea for it, just like very scattered ideas. And my man, it had to have been sophomore or junior year of college. I went and saw Parker McCollum at Hurricane Harry's. It was probably my second or third concert ever that I'd seen, but I had already fallen in love with Parker and Co. and a lot of those um, names of Texas country that we know now, but they were just kind of making their way up at that point. And I vividly remember at that show just like getting bit by the bug and realizing like, oh man, like how freaking cool would it be to be up there on that stage doing that? And I went home to my condo that night at 2 or 3 a.m. Um, and I wrote that song. And at the time, it was not ready to be released. It needed a lot of work, and I played it to my roommates, and they told me that it was great, but I knew that it wasn't ready yet, and sort of sat on it for probably 3 or 4 years, and then came back to it, switched up the second verse and a couple of other things, and then brought it to the studio, and they loved it, so we put that one out. But yeah, that's another one of my favorites that I've written. But an example of a song that didn't come to me right away and needed some time to develop, and I got it where it needed to be over a couple of years, and yeah, now it's out for the world. So
Sweet. Do you have any stories about like a crazy show or experience from a show?
I would say one of the coolest that I've played probably over the past year or so was let's see, when was this? Probably last summer. Randall King was running a songwriter competition on just on social media, and I had submitted to this competition before. I submitted Dallas Girl, I think, like 2 years ago or something. And Randall, and I know this now. He is such a down to earth, great human being. And throughout that competition, whoever posts, he makes an effort to go in and comment on everyone's posts and say like, "Hey, great song! Like, thanks for the entry, whatever." And so that alone, on that first time entering, I was like, "Holy crap!" Like Randall King just commented on my video, and this is crazy. Um, Ended up not winning that year, and then last year or last summer, I was like, "Oh, what the heck? I'll submit again." And I submitted a song that I had written um, earlier that year. It was called Two Steppin', and it's out now. And yeah, I won the competition. And Randall texted me and was like, "Hey man, I'd love for you to play the songwriter stage at Kingfest this year at Floors, John T. Floors." And Floors has always been a bucket list venue for me to play, and I would still love to go back there and play full band. But um, that was just an awesome opportunity to be on the indoor floor stage with another super talented artist that I've become really good friends with. His name's David Lewis, and I've opened a bunch of shows for him this year. But yeah, man, so I got to play at Floors on the indoor stage and play a few of my songs for a room probably full of 200 people. And um, side stage was Randall King and his band, and Josh Ward was there, and Wynn Williams, and um, another super talented artist named Adam Hood. And so I got to meet all those guys, and just sort of an eye opening show for me. And um, sort of told me like, or I guess playing those shows sort of gives you like the motivation that you're looking for to keep going, right? So, you can go and play your 3 hour cover gig to four people and sort of question, man, why am I still doing this? And then you get an opportunity like that you're like, wow, like this is what it's all about, man. And so just riding those highs as long as you can, and knowing that, more of those opportunities will come if I just stay persistent and keep going. And I got to meet Randall and got to shake his hand, and um was just a really cool opportunity. So I wouldn't trade that one for the world.
I guess that kind of rolls me into my next question then, which is, what is your goal with music? Like, when are you like, this is what I wanted?
Yeah, I would just say at this point it's really short term. And what I mean by that is uh, booking as many good shows as we can, meeting as many artists as possible, and making industry connections, and probably most importantly, spending time writing, and writing the best songs that I possibly can, and really writing as much as possible. Because one thing that I've learned is, you know, the more songs that you have, the more likely you're going to eventually write a good song. And I heard this one time from, I think, another podcast. William Beckman was on a podcast, and I believe he heard this from Radney Foster, and it was something like, you got to write 100 songs before you start writing your good songs. And I probably butchered that, but the bottom line was, write 100 songs, and then after you've written 100 songs, then start picking your ones that are your good songs. And so I've always just kind of had that in the back of my mind, like, how many songs can I write this year? And again, you're not just trying to crank them out for the heck of it, spending time on each one, and making sure that each time you're honing your craft and you're getting better at it. But um, that's something that I've spent a lot more time doing this year, just trying to become a better songwriter, because that's what it's all about. And in the end, you know, if it all comes down to it, I want to be the guy that they're like, man, that guy's got some great songs out. And then, after that, it's dialing in the live show. It's um, you know, being as nice as humanly possible to the people that come out and watch us. And like I said, just keeping at it, man. So um, I forget what your initial question was, but I think it was about goals. I would just say those are kind of my short term goals. Just developing the craft, and I think through that, and like trying to become the best artist that I can possibly be, I feel like, the numbers and everything like that will continue to go up. And as long as that happens, I'll keep doing it. So
I seen you put out like an Irish, like a like it's like a pub, like an Irish pub song or
yeah.
something this the beginning of the year. Where'd that come from?
So ever since I started playing, my mom, I mean, we're an Irish family, and we're not like straight from Ireland or anything, but my parents are proud of our Irish heritage and stuff like that. And ever since I started playing, she was like, "Man, you got to write me an Irish country song." And I kind of have always been like, okay, like, yeah, I don't really think that's a thing, but if it comes to me, it comes to me, whatever. And um, I probably heard, Reckless Kelly do it. I feel like they've done it a couple times, but um, one day I was actually I was sitting at work, and it was kind of a slower day and didn't have much going on, and this idea just came to me, man. And I'm sure you've heard a lot of artists say this, but like sometimes ideas just come out of nowhere, and they hit you at unexpected times, but if you ignore it, you might lose it forever. And so this idea hit me at work, and I just like, and I think the initial idea was um these guys go out during the gold rush, during the 1849 gold rush, and they're these Irish guys from Texas, and they go out there expecting to find something. They find some gold. They come back, and they're like the town heroes. They're buying beer with gold, and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, that just sounds like an epic song. So started fleshing it out at my desk at work. Kind of like looking over my shoulder to make sure no one was seeing me. And um, it ended up becoming named the greatest tale ever told, and uh, took it to the studio, and the guys in the studio loved it. And when I was in there, if you've listened to it, there's a bridge section where it's kind of like a bunch of guys in a pub that are like humming a little I don't really know what to call it, but it's like a little Irish um, bridge, if you will. And I was like, guys, I need this to be a group vocal. And so basically we got all the musicians that were there to get in, I guess just like stand around the room. And we had a room mic in the middle of us. And I had like typed out the phonetics of what I wanted them to say. So they all had their phones out, and I had sent them a screenshot of of the phonetics of this part, and I was like, just sing it in like this tune. And so we had like five dudes who did not expect to be singing that day, to sing this part of the song, and we were able to make this like group vocal that actually turned out 100 times better than I thought that it would. And I think it's a really cool moment in the song, and I've never heard something like that in a country song before, if you can call that song a country song. But yeah, man, that's been one of the most fun songs that I've gotten to work on so far. And again, I don't know where it came from. I don't know if I'll be able to do something like that again, but yeah, so that's out there now, and it's got my name on it. So
It kind of took me off guard, because I'm listening to your stuff, and then this pops on next, and I'm it's like, well, but like I listened to it, I was like, well, yeah, I mean, it goes good, it sounds good. I was like, heck yeah, I mean, you're the artist, you can do whatever you want with your music.
exactly, man. I was feeling it, so I put it out, and here we are.
So are you independent?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Do you want to stay independent?
I mean, for as long as it makes sense, right? You know, I've gotten advice from people, and it's like, when you first get, or when have a song that starts kind of blowing up a little bit, you'll start getting some phone calls and emails, and you should make sure that everything makes sense and weigh your options. And fortunately enough, I haven't had that happen yet. So at this point, I'm just kind of, I'm still learning the business and best practices. And I feel like that's really important, because being an independent artist and doing your own booking, and doing everything yourself is like running your own little business. And so I feel like doing that for a number of years before, potentially you get the opportunity to work with a company or something like that is really important, because you figure out what you want and how you like things run. And if that opportunity comes along, then you can kind of um, just keep an eye on things, and make sure that you're staying true to who you are as an artist and staying true to your brand. So I've really enjoyed the learning process of the music business as well, as much as the creative process. So Yeah, I've been independent up till now, and like I said, if something comes along that presents itself, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But till then, I'm gonna keep on keeping on, and um, continuing to learn as much as I can. So,
Do you have to hustle pretty hard to keep yourself booked?
oh man, booking is booking's the hardest part of the whole business aspect. You just you got to be diligent about it, and you know that places book a few months in advance, and so like having the foresight to like strategically plan your entire year a few months in advance, every month has been something that I've learned. And if you slack off, for a month or so, and it gets to be that time when it's the next month and you don't have as many gigs booked as you want, you're going to be booking gigs that you might not necessarily consider your top gigs, or you might not book at all. And so those are some lessons that I've learned, and uh, booking has been one of the most difficult parts of it. But again, super rewarding too, because when you have a month booked out, you're like, "Let's go! I did that." So, um, yeah, that's been a huge learning curve for me, and something that I feel like I've gotten a better hang of. It's nice to be at a point every now and then when places reach back out to you, rather than me doing 100% of the reaching out. It's nice to get that email every now and then, like saying, "Hey, what are your available dates over the next couple of months?" So I'm kind of at that point right now, and you know, it's great.
Do you ever get like ballsy and like try and reach out to bigger and bigger places?
For sure. Yeah, you have to every now and then,
Mm-hmm.
because you never know like what the answer is going to be. Um, the worst part is not hearing back. I would much rather get a no than not hear back. But yeah, it's every now and then you have to shoot your shot, and I've done it with venues, I've done it with artists that I've wanted to open up for or something, and yeah, you get a lot of no responses, you get a lot of no's, but every now and then you get a yes, and so might as well, right? What harm can it do if you're being respectful, and you're not acting like a jerk? So,
What's your most exciting venue or opener that you got to do so far?
about 2 months ago, or maybe like a month and a half ago, I got to open up for Aaron Watson down in Houston. That was awesome, man. It was it was just an acoustic opening slot, so it was me, and then a guy named Gunnar Latham played full band after me, and then Aaron was the headliner. Uh, that was one of the coolest experiences that I've had playing music. It was a packed house, and got to meet Gunnar, got to meet Aaron afterwards. Um, One of the nicest guys that I've ever met. And it's always super refreshing to meet an artist of his size and of his influence that takes the time to shake your hand and take a picture with you, and let you know like how much it meant to him, for me to be kicking the show off for him too. And so even if he had never heard of me before, or probably has forgot about me at this point, it was cool in the moment for him to act like that, and just a real class act, and an overall awesome experience kicking the show off for him.
Is that something you had to like work for to get, or were you contacted for that?
So that one I was contacted for, but it was through a venue. Have you heard of the Rustic? They've got a couple. Where are you from, Dane?
Indiana.
Indiana. Okay. So in Texas, I guess it's a chain of venues, but it's called the Rustic. They've got two in Houston. They've got one in Dallas. I think they've got one in San Antonio. And I played a bunch of gigs at these venues, and have kind of built up a good relationship with the people that book there. And every now and then, when a bigger artist comes in town, they'll book a local opener just to kind of bring out some of their local crowd, and things like that. Um, and this was just one of those where they reached out to me. They threw my name in the hat, and I ended up getting it. And yeah, incredible opportunity, and super blessed to be in a spot to be able to be considered for something like that. So
Nice.
Yeah,
Man, I
man.
feel things seem like they're really kind of picking up for you. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I feel like it's been steady, which is great. It hasn't like declined, and I still see streams increasing, and I'm still booking good shows and shows that I want to play, and we're playing a lot more full band shows now here around Houston and around Texas. And like I said, as long as it continues to progress and as long as I continue to love it, I'll keep doing it. So I think that it's been going great, and we've only steadily been going up. So that's all you can ask for. One percent better every single day is what I like to say. So if that's happening, then I'll continue to be happy about it and keep going as hard as I can. So
So you play full band. Do you have a set band that you play with every gig when you have full band?
yeah, right now I do have a set band. I went through a phase where I was just playing with a lot of hired guns, but at this point, I've been playing with the same guys now for probably, I guess, a few months at this point. Um, we played our first show together at the Houston Rodeo this past year at the Rodeo Cook-Off, and we've been playing together ever since. So great guys, great players too. And so having that combination of great musicians and guys that you actually want to hang out with is an unmatched combination. Both I think are equally important, and if they don't get mad at me and and want to head out, then I think I'll keep them around. So they've been awesome to play with, and you know, I foresee playing with them for the foreseeable future. So
Do they help you with like backing vocals and stuff too?
yeah, man, this is actually the first band where I've had guys that can sing backup vocals and do harmonies. And our last show, we actually had three-part harmonies going, and it was awesome. And like I said, I've never had a band that did that before. And these guys are committed, and they have learned my songs really quickly, and they like the stuff that I'm putting out. And so um I feel like that, on top of them being able to carry a tune, uh allows for taking things to the next level, like having background vocals and having two-part and three-part harmonies. So, and it just adds so much. That's something that I've wanting to add to my live set, and we've finally been able to do that. So that's been awesome. Just a very small thing that adds such a huge difference to your live show.
Do you think now when you write stuff, you'll kind of focus more on stuff with that in it?
Definitely. I think in most of my songs, aside from the original EP that I put out, we have background vocals, and um, that's the way to go. I mean, it just adds so much to the dynamics and the depth of the song. And I don't. I mean, unless I do some more like acoustic records or things like that, um, I see myself continuing to add those background vocals and then working those into our live set.
Do you like recording just as much as playing live?
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite parts. I love going into the studio and bringing a song or songs that I have written and then just recorded in the voice memos of my phone, um, and going into the studio and either playing that recording for them, and maybe they've previously heard it just to prepare for the session, or I play the song for them on my acoustic, and then within hours we have basically fleshed out mixes, is one of the most incredible things that I've ever experienced. And like the studio that I go to, it's a guy by the name of Stormy Cooper who owns the place, and he's actually the bass player for Roger Krager, who's been a huge name here in Texas for forever. Um, and so they call in fantastic musicians. It's Chad Ware, who's Tracy Bird's guitar player, comes in, and Jason Broussard, who plays drums for Roger Krager, and just guys like that, man, that you get to, you know, bump shoulders with and shake hands with, and they're playing on my songs is unreal. That's something that I never thought that I would get to be a part of. And like I said, going in there and showing them an acoustic mix, and they're able to flesh out a full song within a matter of hours is it never gets old. And I love it every time I get to go in there and record some new songs.
Probably cool hearing their version of your song, them playing what they think that your song should sound like.
Yeah, definitely. And then also just them being good enough to hear my feedback and say like, oh no, I kind of wanted to lean more this way, or like kind of thinking this vibe for lead guitar, and they're able to switch it like that. Just them being good enough and to be able to switch styles and um, listen to my feedback on the fly is also something that's pretty hard to believe.
Well, all right, man. Tell people where to find you, where you're playing, your socials, anybody you want to thank, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dane, first of all, thanks for having me on. This has been awesome. Um, my socials are all pretty similar. There's not too much variation. It's some version of Charlie McCabe. I haven't always been able to get just Charlie McCabe on on every social. So I think on Instagram, I'm like Charlie McCabe _1. TikTok is something similar, Charlie McCabe 1 or something like that. And then I'm just Charlie McCabe on all streaming platforms. My website is charliemccabemusic.com. And let's see, where am I playing coming up? This weekend, I'll be in Sealy, Texas, at Wolfpack Woodfire Tavern. And then playing my first show in Waco on Saturday at this venue called The Backyard. It's actually kind of been on my list of venues that I've wanted to play. So I'm kicking the show off for a guy that I mentioned earlier. His name's David Lewis. Fantastic artist. If you haven't heard of David, check him out, stream his music. And he's a, even better human being. So super excited for that one. And I've got a bunch more shows this month. So just, blessed to be playing shows, and I've got a bunch of new songs that I'm getting ready to take to the studio soon. So hopefully you'll be hearing some new stuff soon.
So, all right. Well, hey, it was great talking to you.
Awesome. Thanks again, Dane. And, let's do it again down the road if it allows.
Yeah, sounds great.
Awesome. Have a good one.
All right, bye.